environment, and that we want to be the more sustainable as possible, but often we don't feel we don't yeah we feel that we don't have the tools, or we don't have the knowledge about the actions that they are the most impactful. So actually, through talking with other athletes, with organizers, we decided that it would be a very resourceful tool to have a platform where all the outdoor people could find the different resources and the different tools uh, to be more sustainable. So actually, we work on this outdoor friendly pledge. That it's a pledge with 10 commitments for all the different players on the outdoor sports. So athletes, brands, federations, and even organizers. So actually, in the pledge, you can find 10 different commitments for each of the different players, and they are all related to the SDGs from United Nations. So those are the goals that we want to achieve to be carbon neutral on 2030. So the goals are focusing on climate change, on pollution, on keeping the biodiversity, and also on the resources. So like keeping the water and the natural resources. And on this different focus is these 10 goals for each of the players. The goals go from being carbon neutral to eliminating the waste, or eliminating all the goodies for the events, for example, talking today. And because it's very easy to put commitments and to put goals out there, but it's much more difficult, as I said, to find what are the tools and what are the concrete actions to achieve these goals. This pledge wanted to be also a platform where everybody could find these concrete actions and could share also these actions. So, for example, in the goal of being carbon neutral, that's very abstract, and probably we would not know where to start. But on the platform, like an organizer can enter there and see where are the emissions that he's producing, that they come from the transport of the athletes, they come from their own mobility as organizers, from where they get the energy, and to find different solutions for each of the topics to achieve the goals. So actually, these are long-term goals. They are planned for 2030. So it's a 10-year plan to achieve these goals. They are, I would say that they are pretty high standards. They are many. They can seem very difficult to achieve, but I think with the time frame on 10 years, and with the different steps proposed, it's easy to focus on 1, 2, 3 goals each year and be able to achieve all of them by 2030. And it's something that we should do, I believe, because you has been talking all these days about the impacts that it's having, the climate change, and we are seeing now with many different problems. It's crazy now in US, all the fires that they are in the West Coast, and they are also in Colorado, and that's part of the climate change. Also, when we see about the biodiversity that it's decreasing, that's something that it's accelerating a lot today. So these goals, or these different commitments, I think they are not something that we can have the privilege to decide if we want to take it or not, but it's something that we all need to work for it, because it's not only our future or the future of the humanity, but it's also the present. Like, we are seeing the effects today, so it's important that each of us, from our place, we can fight and we can work for a more sustainable model, and especially on the outdoor sports. I think that we have the opportunity to be a role model for other sports, and that's a bit the aim of this pledge, is to be able to share ideas, to share knowledge, so we are able to accelerate the pace of this race, fighting the climate change. So that's a bit the global scheme of the pledge, and the goals behind it. And if you want, we can go to some more details. We can talk about some specifics and how is the working of this platform.
Yeah, Kilian.
So yeah.
Kilian, I think that would be a really good idea at this point. We can share. We're okay to share the website, the link for the chart now. Yeah. Okay, so
That would be amazing. Yeah,
we'll do that internally after we finish this webinar. But I was thinking for today, then we're reaching race directors. So I was thinking maybe if you could focus on the details of the 10 steps that you have for events, so that the directors present can get some idea of what you're thinking for events to help them empower individuals and get the message across.
Yes, so actually for the race directors and for the events, the 10 goals are
sorry, hold on a second. We've lost we've got audio, but we've lost video for you. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, here. Yeah. Sorry, one second. I will fix that, and I will come in 1 second to see if I can share it. Okay, do you hear me and see me well now?
Yep, we've got audio and video. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. No, sorry for that. Yeah, so as I said, it's 10 different goals, and they are focusing on the different topics, as I said before, and the specific ones for the race directors, for the organizers. Actually, they are the first one is to become carbon neutral. So that's focusing mostly on the emissions. As you probably know, the emissions coming from an event are coming from different scopes. We call as the direct ones. Those are from the activities of the organization. That it can be like if you have an engine to produce electricity, if you move, if you need to go with a car from one place to the other to bring aid stations, all these that it's inside the organization. It's the scope 1 that we call it, and those are the direct emissions. And then is the indirect ones that they come from the energy that the event is it's buying. That can be like and that's very related with the electrical grid, where the energy comes from, if it's coming from fossil fuels or if it's from renewable energies, but also like all the traveling that the participants have to get to the event, and that's something that is not directly from the race organizers, but I think that the organizers can also have a very easy work on that, because I think it's very easy to share on when the runners do the registration. For example, if they want to do a carbon offsetting straight at the moment that they do the registration, or ideas like that. So it's easy to compensate the scope 3 of the emissions. And for the first ones, I think it's mostly like to reduce the mobility and to find like a more greener, more greener mobility or softer mobility for the organization. The second goal actually is to go 100% renewable energy for the supply of the organization needs. And that's I think it's pretty hard to achieve because it comes to what from the grid, like it can be very easy here in Norway because all the energy is from hydroelectric, but some places it comes from fossil fuel, and that cannot be changed from company to company. But it might take more like kind of a political war to try to change the source of energy of the country. But many times when we are doing events in the outdoors, we are using engines, or we are using motors to get energy there. And there are solutions that they are not fuel, but they are solar panels or electric generators that they come from solar or from small wind turbines. So I think it's interesting to see if we have the option to change these engines for more sustainable ones when we are talking about energy. And the third goal for the races are actually to reduce the mobility, both for organizers and for spectators and assistants. And that's not only because the carbon emissions, but it's a lot because also the respect, or to have the minimum impact to the wildlife and to the terrain. It's very common on big races to have as many cars as athlete racing, just racing around the race to try to follow the runners. And that makes a big impact on both noise, on the destruction of the wilderness, especially in the places we park. So I think it's very important to make a plan on this transportation and to find solutions that to avoid this individual transportation around. And that can be from limiting the assistance to limiting the parking places, or to make sometimes it's easy to find partners with public transportation. In some other places it's impossible. So, but I think it's very important to make a plan for this mobility, to try to reduce not only the carbon emissions, but also the impact that we have to the wildlife and to the land. The fourth goal actually is to try to reduce the waste by 50%, and to do selective collection of all the waste. And here is it's three key points, I would say. The first one is food. We normally in events, a big part of it is about the aid stations and about the catering before or after the race. And when we are serving all this catering, normally, because it's easier, we do it in individual doses. We have a lot of packaging for all these all this food. So it can take a bit of time to figure out what's the good way to avoid that. But I would say that it's important to really have a plan on having on limiting all the packaging from these food supplies. And also I think it's very important when we are organizing an event to really make a plan and to make a very easy and easy to find where the athletes, where the organizers, where the race volunteers can throw all the waste on composting boxes for the food, let's say, and on different waste in different disposal ways. So like for the metal, for the papers. Even I have been seeing some races that in the aid stations they have different containers, so the athletes themselves can throw the food in the different containers, or just simple things like not have any package in the food that the runners are taking. If we are giving a bar to the athlete, we can already take off the paper, so we are sure that this paper will not be on the land, or will not be on a general can, but we will put it in the specific one. So it's important to have a plan about this food and waste during the race. A second point important is the marking. Most of the organizers now, they use reusable flags, and that's very important. It's also important that to make the flags properly anchored, so we prevent the dispersal. But also I think it's important to be really to make good plans on knowing where we have all the marking and all the banners, in case that some accidents happen, or in case we lost them, to be able to recover them as fast as possible. And the big topic on waste is actually the goodies. A big part of the racing incomes it comes from sponsors and from merchandising. And sponsors normally they want to give some goodies on the racer bag, or on the attendance of the event, and that's cool. I think the runners, they feel that they get rewarded, or they get something material for the races, for the registration, for the fees. But on another way, that we have seen that the 60% of the t-shirts or of the goodies that we are giving, they go to the waste, and they go to the landfill. So that's something that it's huge, and we should be able to replace that to avoid all the goodies, and replace from other solutions. I would say, like giving local products. That's a very interesting alternative, or alternatives like Trees No Tees. That is basically when you are doing the registration, you choose if you want to have a finisher t-shirt, or if you want to use that money that is going to the t-shirt to plant a tree, to have an offset. So I think it's very important to make a plan on reducing the goodies, and on finding more sustainable alternatives to reward the athletes that they enter the event. And coming also on the waste side, it's about the materials that the event is using. So that's the goal 5, is to use 100% ecologically friendly and fair materials for the event. So that comes from the communication, to avoid as much of the print communication, flyers, posters, magazines, because as well the 80% of those, they go to the rubbish. So it's just waste. So minimize the production of printed materials and to try to use non-plastic or recycled materials in terms of all the gear that the race is using. The sixth goal is about the food catering. Before we were talking about the waste, but it's also important to have food catering that it's sustainable, that comes from local organic products, to have vegetarian and vegan options that we've seen that they are more, they have a less, they have less impact on the climate warming. And also important, it's to make sure that the food and catering, they come from fair markets. I think we know that food it's one of the big of the key points on climate change. So as organizers, we need to be part of this transition too. The seventh goal is to do an assessment of the land erosion and wildlife impact. That's actually to do a very precise study of the locations, of the dates of the event, of the number of participants, of the spectators, if we can use sticks or not, if we can go with the cars in a place or another, in terms to prevent the distortion of the wildlife or the land erosion. And on that, it's actually things that we need to take into account is also the noise. If we have speakers on the event, like just on how we place the speakers to one direction to the other, if we have some barriers to avoid that this noise is going to the wild, on the light during events that they are 24 hours or more, where the runners will be during the night and how much light it will give. So I think it's important to really have a thought and to follow kind of a table on the impacts of the event, and also like after the first year to see the measures that we can do for the year after to reduce this impact to the nature. And the goal 8, that's something that I got really inspired from the US races. So you are very, you know very well about it. It's to require the participants to do environmental or conservation work to enter the event. And that's something that that most of you are doing. And I think that it's very important, not only because it's to have more volunteers to do conservation work, that it's important because at the end, like it's important to do specific actions, but also because I believe that doing these kind of works, volunteering, the runners, they also get more involved about conservation, and they probably learn some things. So at the end, despite more than the actual work that is done, it's important to integrate runners on not being athletes that go to the event, but also taking responsibility and learning about what they can do on a daily basis for the environment. And the 9th goal actually is about promotion. It's to promote a more sustainable, inclusive, and intersectional sport. So that's important and post campaigns, but also during the event. So to use all the tools that the event has, from social media to conferences to activities that is organizing during the time of the event, to talk about this, to bring the conversation to runners. And that can be from making a stand to recycle all the equipment, to have activity for kids to know how to recycle, to have a plugging activity during the race, or also like to be yeah, to organize activities around the event for the spectators and for the crews that they are related to that, conferences, all kinds of different activities. And I think it's important that to understand that environment transition, it comes also with social integration. So I think it's important for the events to take to take seriously the woman equality and the accessibility, as well as the intersectional, for the event. So it's important to think it's not about the environment, but it's to make a better society. And for that, I think then we can fight the climate change. Yeah, and I think both they go very well together, and it's important on the event also to promote and support all the initiatives for this. And then the last goal actually is to protect the water, and that's about really think about what are the products that we are putting in the water and try to minimize the water resources that are using on the race. So actually, those are the specific themes on the chart. And you can actually, if you go to the website, you can see some different ideas to achieve all of them, or you can share, because I know that many of you, you are very involved on the thing already. So you can share your ideas, your tips, so more people can profit of them, and more races can take the idea and just, as I said before, accelerate the race to be as soon as possible a more sustainable practice.
Cool, wonderful, thank you. Kilian, we're kind of running out of time here, but yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. Have we got any questions from the audience quickly before we finish on the webinar? Any questions at all? Yeah, Nancy.
So I think, I don't know if Kilian can hear me, but maybe you can transfer my.
Yeah, I hear you.
You can hear.
So I'm wondering what you think the consequences in Europe, Asia, US, where do you think we're going to have the most impact initially as far as countries that are going to be on board with this charter? Do you think, I mean, obviously there'll be some stumbling blocks along the way for people, but where do you think we'll have the most impact initially nationwide?
So yeah, that's a very good point, because it's different speeds. I would say it depends. I think in terms of events, US is it's ahead, because when it comes to the assessment of the damages, or when it comes to promotion of sustainability, you are ahead of Europe and Asia. That's probably different on the brand side, and especially because the European laws are much harder on sustainability. So like for a brand to achieve the legal requirements in Europe, they need to work harder. And athletes, probably I would say that both all the Nordic countries in Europe, and Northern Europe and US, they are more ahead. So I would say that in general, US and Europe will be faster together at the beginning, on different speeds. As I said, like brands probably in Europe, they go a bit faster on that because the legal system. But also a thing that I put it in the chart for the brands is to work on the supply chains, because that's like the 90% of the pollution. It comes from not from the own companies, but from the chains, and that's mostly in Asia. So that's something that that I would say with a 5 years difference of speed, Asia will come on that. So yeah, I think that's a bit the different speeds. And then like thinking countries like South America, we are talking also with them so they can keep up the speed also on this.
Cool, thank you, Kilian. We also have a question from Mandy online, who's who's watching virtually. And she says, with the restrictions on aid stations due to COVID, things have to be individually packaged and not touched by the volunteers. How can we reduce waste and still follow COVID protocols? And Mandy, thank you for that question.
Yeah, for sure. COVID has bring a different, a very different procedure for everything. And as you said, like now everything needs to be individually packed for the races. I think now it's also the moment to say, okay, maybe it's important on races to rely more on the self-sufficiency of athletes. So they need to bring all their food. So we are not just giving them individual packages during the race. So to work more on the self-sufficiency and for the athletes. And yeah, I think during the COVID time, it's difficult to remove all this individual packaging, but then we need to do it just on removing what athletes can get during the aid stations, or to have that that supply food on the start of the race, so we are sure that they have cans to recycle, and then during the race they need to carry their own food, so not to have the possibility in the aid stations.
Yeah, cool. Kilian, thank you so much. Yeah, one of the things that we talked about yesterday was about that it's really time to, we're going to need to go through some feeling uncomfortable because, you know, we're kind of creatures of habit, and we like to continue doing the things that we're kind of comfortable with. But I think we're at a point in our sport and climate change and climate action where we do need to go through some discomfort. You know, I think we have to take some decisions which, as race organizers and event organizers, but also as athletes and individuals, which are maybe going to make us feel uncomfortable. And this is one particular area, I think, for races in terms of aid stations. But yeah, you're right. I think to put some responsibility on the athletes in terms of food and energy supply, that kind of thing, I think is a good idea. And I think it's so important, Kilian, that you as a well-known athlete, internationally known athlete, is taking this lead as well. So you're giving us, I think, a really good opportunity and example to follow. So thank you so much for putting this charter together. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to. I'll share the link as quickly as possible on the conference app, so that everybody can get access to your website, Kilian, and have a look at more of the details.
No, thank you very much. As you said, I think it's not about being uncomfortable with the decisions we take, but I think it's just we need to think that the system, the sports model that we has been enjoying, or that we has been seeing for the last decade, it need to change. It's not another option. We need to think different when we organize circuits. We need to think different when we organize races, or when we are an athlete and we need to race. It's not better or worse. It's just different. We need to think about another model. And yeah, like I encourage all the organizers to go to the chart. You can join or not. That's up to you, but you can find the resources there. They are open. They are for everybody, and you can share all the ones you have. So it's a space to accelerate the race. And yeah, thank you for hearing me out today, and I hope you have a good conference.
Yeah, Kilian, have you got time for one more question? We have time here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Hi, Kilian, it's Nancy again. So I'm wondering how you're going to activate other athletes. I mean, you're really well known, and I'm sure there's other of your colleagues that might get excited about this initiative. And how are you going to activate them to help carry your message to other individuals? Will you have resources available that they can share, or success stories that you can share from athletes and organizers? Just curious how that's going to be implemented.
Yes, actually, the implementation, like for athletes, it's pretty easy. It's because it's still a small world. So like it's easy to reach each other, to share these different commitments and to share the resources. In the website, I have putting also like some resources about like where like the activities and access regulations all over the world, so people can check in each area what they can do. So I think for athletes, it's pretty straightforward in the website, and towards the communication that we have between all the athletes that they are involved, I think we can reach pretty much, big part of it. And when it comes to events, brands and federations, that's a bit, it's a bit more difficult. First, because we don't want to be doing like a greenwashing here. It's about taking seriously these commitments. So especially for the brands and federations, like we want to do a follow-up with the steps that they are doing, so we see that it's for real. And also I think each player has its part. For example, federations, they can do a lot on the rules when they are writing rules, and when they are like setting what are the standards of from gear, from the circuits, all that. So the resources, like I think it's to have is to create this net, like me from the foundation, and with all the athletes that they are collaborating with, the brands that they will be collaborating, that they take this seriously, with the organizers that they are every time, like every year they are more, that they are doing an amazing job for that. So I think it's to create this network of people and resources that they that we can inspire each other. And now is the website. We are launching a webinar on the website soon, and it will come with the time more and more resources. I think like more people is involved, that will mean that it's more resources that we can share and that we can put together. And at the end is like to help each other. And I see that on putting on bringing everyone together, and to create a space where we can, like as today, like we are doing a conference, we are talking about the subject, we are giving ideas. So it's to make that on every day a year through this platform.
Fabulous, Kilian. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to need to finish there. I think we could talk about this for a lot longer, but thank you so much for your time, for connecting, Kilian, and we look forward to seeing you again on Saturday. We'll link up with you again on Saturday morning, Central Time here in Arkansas.
Sure, thank you guys to be here, and have a good day there in the US.
All right, thank you so much, Kilian.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye bye for now.
Bye.
Bye bye.